It was a beautiful thing, Duke football, the last 2 years, but the run was short and sweet under Mike Elko and also Riley Leonard, two of the most respected players and coaches at their positions in all of college football. Welcome into the Voice of College Football. Appreciate you all being here. Best discussion, debate, and analysis as we run through the ACC schedules released last week. Duke went 8-5 last year, 9-4 the year before under Mike Elko, who really turned it around after the dismal finish under David Cutcliffe. Let's see if Duke can bounce back. Let's look at the ride that Manny Diaz will have to face coming up this fall. They've got Elon on Friday night to open the season at home on August 30th. Then they stay out of conference and they take on Northwestern, this time at Ryan Field in Evanston, Illinois. This has become a bit of a out-of-conference rivalry. These teams just basically play all the time. They've started a series and they won't let it go. Duke leads it 13-10. These two teams have played 7 times since 2015. Duke has had the better team. Not always had the better team, but they've won the games, 5 consecutive wins, although Northwestern rallied late in the season and pulled off that surprising 8-5 finish under David Braun. Then it's a September 14th matchup against UConn. Jim Moore's team, after a bowl appearance a year before, slumped to 3-9. Of course, this is an amazing basketball matchup in terms of all-time programs and historic matchups, Duke and UConn. But when it comes to football, well, Duke won the last matchup in just this past fall, 41-7 in 2023. Then Duke goes to Middle Tennessee State, as this is one of those Power 5 matchups where they play on the road against a group of 5, a low-level group of 5. You don't see that too often. Duke won the only matchup of the series in 2019. Then they dive into ACC play. So they get the 4 non-conference games out of the way immediately, and then it's all ACC from there. North Carolina, 2 teams that both went 8-5 last year. North Carolina with a quarterback transition to Max Johnson. These 2 teams played an overtime game as the Heels pulled it out in the extra session last year. Duke at Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets at 7-6 under Brent Key lead the all-time series 54-35 and won one of the most played series in the history of ACC football. Haynes King fired 27 touchdowns for the Jackets last year. Then the first bye is followed by a Friday game against Florida State. Of course, Duke led this game with Riley Leonard at quarterback deep into the third quarter at Doak Campbell Stadium last year. Leonard got hurt. They passed on a field goal right after Riley Leonard got hurt and did not convert on a 4th down play at the 4-yard line. And then Florida State marched down the field, took the lead, and never looked back. Florida State leads this series. This is funny. 20-0 over Duke. They meet once again, this time at Duke. Then it's a matchup against one of the newcomers to the ACC, Duke and SMU. Mustangs coming off an American Conference Championship team, 11-3. Duke leads the series 2-0, but those games played back in the mid-50s. Then Duke goes to Miami as Manny Diaz will face his former team that he coached 2019, 20, and 21. Miami leads the all-time series 15-5, but Duke has won 3 of the last 5, including a 45-21 blowout over Mario Cristobal in 2022. Then Duke has a game against North Carolina State on the road, so this looks like the most difficult stretch of the season. FSU, SMU, Miami, and NC State. Dave Doran's team finished 9-4 after a bowl loss to Kansas State. Duke leads the all-time series, surprisingly, over NC State, 42-37-5. And they did win the game 24-3 in 2023. Then we see the final bye week in mid-November. Really odd to see, but it's popped up a lot in reviewing these 2024 schedules. Duke takes on Virginia Tech. The Hokies, coming off 7-6, lead the all-time series 19-11. Quarterback Kyron Drones and his 22 total touchdowns and only 3 picks leading the Hokies. And then finally, the matchup against Wake Forest on the road. The Demon Deacons under Dave Clawson, a down year in 2023 at 4-8. Duke leads the all-time series 60-41 with a couple ties, and Duke won it by a field goal in 2023. Duke misses what is expected to be two of the better teams in the ACC. Clemson and Louisville. The other games would be toss-ups, you would think, against BC, Pitt, Virginia, and Syracuse. Most of those teams around 500 last year, although Pitt and Virginia were 3-9 football teams. Stanford and Cal also not on this initial schedule against Duke as those two teams enter the ACC. Manny Diaz is back in the conference, and he's got a multi-talented, very skilled beast of a quarterback in Malik Murphy. We'll see what that duo can accomplish for Duke football, trying to ride the momentum and keep the culture together and everything that Mike Elko has built there in going 9-4 and 8-5 the last 2 years. We shall see. Your comments below on Duke football right here at the Voice of College Football.